Hi, I'm CJ Altenberg with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. If you've got some big horses, warmbloods, just oversized horses that need a little bit room, extra room, this Cimarron we have sitting back here is a perfect setup. These 2+1s have become so popular. I can remember back in time when we'd just carry about one of these standard trailers, real stripped down model. Now it's evolved to where we're carrying 5 to 6 of these on order, on hand at all times. We just continue to put more and more add-ons on these trailers, and people just absolutely love them. So this is a 2024 Cimarron we have sitting here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing. That way you can kind of see how this trailer is actually laid out. So again, it's your 2+1. So your typical 2-horse straight load, box stall, front tack room. This trailer is 24 foot on the floor. We have a 4.5 foot straight wall front tack room, standard width, 6'10" wide, and then when it comes into play, that extra height, 7'7" tall. So if you've got those bigger horses, this trailer is definitely capable to handle them. So let's start working through this trailer. There's been some add-ons to this. We'll walk you through that. We've got a lot of different variations of these 2+1s. If you look underneath the gooseneck, the first thing that's going to jump out to you is that jack. So instead of a manual crank jack, we went with the equalizer electric over hydraulic option. In my opinion, this is the only way to go. It's actually more cost effective to go ahead and put it on the order than after the fact. Not to say we don't have trailers here with manual crank jacks, and some customers want to go ahead and add this to that trailer. We can definitely do that through our parts and service department, but we already went ahead and did it on this one. So this system here that Cimarron uses, not only is it just push button and up and down it goes, but it also has a manual override. So if you get in an emergency situation, we can actually get this on or off the truck itself. So that's definitely a nice upgrade there. With it, you're gonna get an aluminum battery box, 12-volt battery, and a battery disconnect. So all that's part of this standard package. We used to go in and add the actual battery disconnect to it. Cimarron made that a standard option a couple years ago because, listen, this thing's got a lot of lights on it. The last thing you do when you park this trailer and unhook it is you turn that off. That way it's not draining the battery down by running those lights. So when you come to it and come to hook on, you have a dead battery. So you just reach in there and turn that off. This guy can also lock. This is going to be the same key code, so the same key will be needed for this box, for the doors, ramps. I'll show you all that as we work through it. Now, if you notice spare tire, it's actually elevated, and the reason why is because of this hydraulic jack. This takes a little bit larger footprint than the manual crank, so we have to elevate it up and out of the way on these standard width trailers. So that part's already done. We've actually started to make this a standard option on our 6'10" wide trailers, just getting it up. So again, if you ever wanted to add that after the fact, it's already done and taken care of for you. It's not added costs that we have to look at. Now on a Cimarron nose, one thing I'll point out is these are 8'2" long. A lot of competitors run a 7'6", 7'8" long nose. Where that becomes a problem is when we have that hydraulic jack. You see that plastic facing there really sticks farther out than the spare tire. So you have to watch your long box trucks with your tailgate down when you're backing underneath them. Sometimes you actually have to have somebody guiding you back, shut the tailgate as you get a little bit closer because you need that extra space. On these Cimarrons with 8'2" noses, that's the beauty about it, is you can drop that long box tailgate and you can still walk behind there. You don't have to worry about getting into that in those type of scenarios. The other thing is this drop wall. So if you've purchased a new truck over the last few years, maybe dragging a little bit older trailer, or noticed, boy, all of a sudden I went from a lot of bed clearance to hardly any bed clearance, or boy, my trailer's really running uphill. So what we ideally want is we want a trailer running level with equal weight distribution on those 2 axles and bed clearance. What I want to shoot for on this type of a trailer is, you know, about 6.5 minimum. But more than likely on these newer trucks, you're gonna get it probably in that 8-inch range there, just because this is now 53-inch gooseneck drop versus a standard 50. So we cut 3 inches in. Granted, this is an extra tall trailer, so really you didn't really lose any space there. But now what we can do is we can level this trailer out. Again, equal weight distribution on those 2 axles, adjust our coupler if we need to make sure we have plenty of bed clearance. But again, your Fords and Rams over the last couple of years have just been tall, and then this new GM body style has gone up in height as well. So that's been a little bit of a challenge in the industry, and we have to, on the trailer side, adjust for that. The trucks aren't going to change. It is what it is. So we've got to make sure we're taking care of it. So on these new trailers, these new Cimarrons, these using trailers, we're adjusting those drop wall heights based on that. Now we'll take it a case-by-case basis. I'm not going to say every trailer here on the lot has that, but if you have 17.5s, you're running air ride trailers, 19.5 wheels, it's not as necessary because we're already gaining that height when we air it up or based on those. But in this instance here, you got plenty of bed clearance. Okay, front tack room, like I mentioned, 4.5 foot straight wall. As we're approaching it, you'll notice on the door, we have a brush tray. Nice big heavy duty door from Cimarron. I'll show you that when we close it. Fold up step coming in. So from this bottom rail down to the ground, it's a pretty healthy step. So if you're hauling totes, just bringing tack in general, why make that big step up and over? It's nice to have that fold up step, breaking it, just making it a nice easy transition coming into this actual tack room itself. So as you come in, rubber on the floor. I prefer the rubber on the floor rather than carpet, because carpet will hold those stains and those odors over time. But we do incorporate the carpet as we come in, go to the gooseneck drop wall, and then up on the actual deck itself. So up here in the gooseneck, we got a couple windows. So again, if you're, just sleeping in here, throwing a bedroll, a mattress, anything like that, spending a night, it's nice to be able to see out, create a cross breeze. That little bit of air movement through there, going across the trailer will definitely cool you off and definitely help there. Close bar over here on driver's side, that left-hand side of the gooseneck itself, so you can hang clothes. Again, this is a taller trailer, so from this deck to the ceiling, you have some pretty good height there. Okay, behind me here's a recess post, 3 pads, and then 2 blanket poles. These are all adjustable, so I can slide these up and down. I can change the sequencing. I can completely remove them if I want. You literally just loosen up these nuts up here, slide them to where you want, tighten them where you want them to be, or you can slide them out the top and just completely remove them. On the drop wall, 12-inch boot box. Good place to throw some smaller items that just might shift in transit, just kind of keeping things organized. You can sit down on it and hang out in here if you want, or if you have to hop into the actual neck area, it's definitely a nice little step there and a boost up into that area. Then on the partition wall, we're carpeted there, and then we have 2 rows of bridle hooks. These are aluminum powder coated, so they're really stout, but that carpet behind them is going to protect, instead of having an aluminum sheet there. We'll see that on some used trailers where I can literally see a nice about half circle where everything's been moving in transit and just starts scraping up that wall. So what does that also do to our bits? We don't want to do that. So that carpet protects it. It's also quiet for the horses on the other side of this, not making a lot of noise, clanking against that wall. Definitely nice to have that carpet there. And then the last piece on that partition wall is going to be a pass-through door. So you actually have a pass-through door that goes from the stall area into the tack room or vice versa. Definitely nice to have that little piece there. So in this, one other thing that we could always do through a parts and service is, again, that boot box is partial. So on a lot of our air ride 2+1s, we kind of do this same setup, and then we locate a half moon, a 48-gallon water tank right here against that wall. It works really well on flat walls or 90-degree corners, anything like that. Not your typical corner water tank where those get a little bit trickier in these type of instances, but that could be added in here as well. So a lot of things can be done after the fact on these trailers. So just because you don't see some of that stuff, don't think we can't actually go ahead and put that on this trailer. So like I mentioned, big frame door. So I want you to pay attention to is the edge of this to that window. That is all framework. So these doors are really stout. You feel the weight of them when you're open and close them. And the dead giveaway is if it's squared at the top, that is made at the factory door. If it's rounded, it's prefab. Then it's like a piece of paper in your hand. You're gonna get welded hinges on these doors as well. So Welded hinges with grease zerks, so you can maintain these. You start getting a kind of a squeaky hinge, you can actually put grease to it. You can see the brass right there in the middle. That's a brass rod that runs the full length of this, and it's got a groove cut into it. So as you open it, it's wanting to actually swirl and move that grease throughout that whole hinge. And then the last part is you're gonna have a drip rail over these doors. So these doors your feed doors and tack doors, those type of entrances into this trailer is going to have that actual drip rail. So that is an actually extruded piece of aluminum. They don't just take a piece of aluminum and tack weld it up there. Nope, they have a specific die for that piece of this trailer. And again, that's just trying to keep that moisture away from these door openings and those weather seals. You know, in Colorado, we really experience that a lot, because we'll have 300 days of sunshine, we'll have snow, sun will come out, melt a bunch of stuff, and then overnight it'll freeze again. That's where we run into maybe some doors kind of freezing up and having a hard time opening them. So that drip rail is going to try to keep that moisture away there. Fold up step, again, very easy to operate. It's just on a gas shock. And as you can see, this one here is silver metallic. So white is standard. If you want to upgrade to silver metallic, charcoal metallic, black, those are probably our most popular color options from the standard white. There's a little bit of an upcharge there, but definitely just changes the look of this trailer, not just that standard white out there running around. You know, you get it in the right lighting, the right angle, you can see those flakes, so you really get to see that metallic. I think it also kind of hides a lot of dirt. If you live in, you know, kind of an area where it will blow a lot, maybe get a little rain, and then it'll blow, and then it sticks to that trailer, it's going to hide that a little bit more. Okay, so you have your side ramp going into your box stall. We'll get into the stall area here in a minute. This is great because you can walk on and off this trailer. So you can load at the back and then walk off the side. You see we've got the big bar that goes across there, and then the Dutch door up above it when we actually go to shut this ramp. So you shut your ramp first, then your Dutch door over that. 16-inch awning light. So you have light coverage on the outside of this trailer on both sides and the rear. I'll show you those, but it's nice to have that bit of light there. Just, you're gonna be in times where it's gonna be dark. It's definitely nice to have that. Also in this Dutch door, it's gonna be a window. So airflow in all these entrances, we try, you know, just to really utilize all those spaces where we can create airflow, keeping horses comfortable. So I've got the Dutch door open. So we've got a drop window here, so where those two horses are loaded up by their heads, we can drop this window. It mirrors on the other side. I'll show you that when we get to the other side of this trailer. So we have two 6,000-pound Dexter rubber torsion axles, electric brakes, Goodyear 10-ply tires, bolt-on fender. So if you tear up a fender, rather than it being a weld-on where you got to cut it off and then re-weld another one on, this one unbolts and bolt a new one on. Saves a lot of time, a lot of money from that standpoint, because it's bolt-on rather than an actual weld-on. So like I mentioned, electric brakes, so your truck will have to have an integrated brake controller or an aftermarket. Again, if you don't have that and you want to get help with that through our parts and service department, we can help you there. You have a 1-year, no questions asked warranty on these tires. That's through Lion's Head, who is Cimarron's vendor for wheels and tires. That's not through Cimarron, it'd be through Lion's Head. But if you catch a nail that can't be patched, you know, it gets into that sidewall and does some damage there. You have a blowout, you catch road debris from the date you purchased the trailer, that's when that goes into effect. You're covered for 1 year, no questions asked. On the trailer side of the warranty, you're going to get an 8-year structure warranty and a 3-year hardware warranty. So they really stand behind the product. Big bus window over the hip of the horse. I'll get this Dutch door out of the way so you can see it. So they really try to maximize the size of that window there. Excuse me. Half of that's going to open because it is a bus window. But again, talk about a large window, just creating a lot of, again, airflow in there. And then your Dutch door can come over to the side of the trailer. You can drive down the road with this open if you'd like. These also can be locked open as well. So you've got the ability to go ahead and take that same key that I showed you for that aluminum battery box, that front tack room, same key here, same key for the ramps. Everything can just be locked with one key. All right, so the back entrance of this setup here is our rear ramp with Dutch doors. These trailers not only are great for what we're using them for from a horse standpoint, but also some customers want to use these to haul some toys. So there's a lot of versatility to these because it's a straight load. We're not dealing with a ton of dividers, but then we can also show you here in a minute, you can move that divider over to the sidewall or completely remove it. So by having that ramp and that just flexibility, it definitely helps just the overall usage of this trailer. There's an 8-inch awning light at the back. So I mentioned you have two 16s on the sides and an 8-inch at the back here. So again, plenty of light coverage. And then as we come in, you see the butt bars have pads on them. The divider itself is going to be padded. So again, pads on the butt bars, pads on the chest bars, and then pads on the actual divider itself. And then on this divider here that we're looking at, this guy here has the air flows on the actual divider itself and then on the head grill. So again, more airflow for your horses, just trying to, again, keep them as comfortable as possible. Now, what's so cool about this is, again, when you're utilizing it with a straight load like this, very easy to operate, you know, again, walk on, walk off type of scenario. But maybe you're sitting there saying, hey, I'd like 2 box stalls. Maybe I'm gonna haul Cimarron foals. Maybe I just want to give them some room. I want to haul something else. This guy here can be unpinned. So here at the back, you can see I can unpin this guy at the back, and then I've got pins on the front side of it up high, and then also on my head grill. It is a 2-person job just because of the length and just the awkwardness of it. It's not a 1-person job. Whether you're taking it out and putting it in the barn or setting it over to the side, you unpin it, move it over, and then repin it. You can see over on the other side those blocks down on the floor where it's going to go into place. So again, we can just move it over, repin it, and then it's out of the way. They've made it to where you can actually drop these butt bars and chest bars on that side against the wall. We don't have to remove them, and we can set it there. Might be a little snug fit. You'll have to maybe lean on a little bit, but it's definitely nice to be able to go ahead and get that over. Now, this is a new feature that they've been doing on these pads. You know, these here are now riveted rather than they used to do those kind of push-in plastic kind of locks. Those guys would break over time. We'd notice that. So again, they've gone to a rivet there, just securing that pad a little bit sturdier than what we've seen. And then as we work through, I've got these guys open right now, but as you can see, here's our stud gates at the front. So you got your chest bar up, you got your stud gate, it's airflow as well. You've got D-rings already in place, so if you wanted a feeder, we can get that feeder for you in that spot, but we can shut those guys off, and then you have your front box stall that you can utilize for, maybe it's an additional horse, or you're just taking some extra feed, some bedding, you know, your wheelbarrow, anything like that. But then as you can see, when these guys open, when you go to unload, what I like is Cimarron's, you know, we put a little bit more spacing in this front box stall, so this door never really even gets close to protruding into this opening on that side ramp itself. So it's very clear and very easy for horses getting in and out. The other thing is when you start putting your hands on all these gates, dividers, I mean, even this door frame here, everything has a radius. So again, protecting horses as you're walking them on and off. No 90-degree angles, no sharp edges. They really want to have a lot of emphasis on horse safety, and I give them a lot of credit there. So you got your bar that goes across the opening. What's also cool about this guy is you can just unhook it from the carabiner, and it actually, instead of it sitting like that, it slides up, and then I can just set it into place there so it's out of the way for you. Slide it down and then reinstall it just like that. Very simple. Two-way roof fence. So you've got 2 here at the front of this box stall, because again, think about if we have some horses here forcing that air back to the horses in the straight load, and then we've got 2 more right above the heads of these horses here, so we can open air up, grab it, force it down, or you can open it maybe winter months as the body heat, you know, starts to rise in here. You can crack them to the back and let that air escape as well. But you can create so much airflow throughout this trailer. Like I said, we have two-way roof vents, airflow dividers, we have bus windows, we have drop windows. The other thing that you have working for you is that roof. So that is standard on every single Cimarron. It is an insulated roof, so it'll keep this stall area about 20% cooler than aluminum sheeted roofs. Come in here on a hot summer day on this asphalt, and we'll show you. You will physically tell the difference between one brand with an aluminum sheeted roof on a trailer that's been sealed up. Walk you over to Cimarron, you'll tell it physically. Your horses will be more comfortable in this. The other thing too is, hate to say it, we're running into spring, so spring storms, possible hail. These roofs are stout. I can walk on this roof 150 pounds per square foot, so that'll take substantial hail, so you're not having to deal with that aspect of it. Not to say significant hail can't do damage, because it can, but majority of the hail, you know, will just bounce off this guy and you're not running into issues there. So you're not having to deal with insurance, just devaluing the trailer with hail damage. I mean, we see it time and time again when we're looking at trades. See an aluminum roof and it just is an eyesore, it's just been beat up. So we have to adjust our number based on that. So that's definitely a nice feature there, that is standard on every single Cimarron. You can see in the top rail, you've got those OptiBrite lights, so you have plenty of light coverage in here as well. You know, one above each horse there, and then we've got one over on driver's side facing this area over here as you come up the ramp. So these guys put out a ton of light coverage, not a big power draw, and everything's on an individual switch. So I can turn on the stalls, either side of the trailer, rear. You don't have to have just one switch where everything is on automatically. So we've talked about what we got going up there. We'll flip to the floor now. Now this one here has rubber mats. If you wanted to go with the worm flooring, that is an option. We've got a place locally, a vendor that we can take it to. Just remove the rubber mats, put worm flooring in, permanent, unpenetrable. It is a more cost effective to do it when the trailer is brand new versus down the road. They'll charge you a little bit more for prep work, just depending on the condition of the trailer itself. That goes into that as well as far as the pricing, but you can do that. But what we're standing on is the industry's best floor. It is an aluminum 12-inch deck, extruded, locks in high and low, tongue and groove, so you have two anchor points there, just creating more strength. When you start putting these floors together, they just get stronger and stronger as you go. The more important thing is 4-inch centers. Centers are the beams that run across the trailer the full length. So imagine hoof size of a horse. Wherever they're standing on a Cimarron, they're standing on a support beam. That's where you're not going to get those pits where urine will collect, starting to corrode, corrosion, creating holes in the floor, that type of scenario there. But again, industry's best floor. If you're going to stick with the rubber mats, at least once a year, or depending on usage, if it's real heavy usage, you might have to do this a little bit more often, but you need to pull your mats out, power wash it, let it clean, clean it out and let it dry completely. I would nose this up. I would come in through the side ramp or the escape door and let gravity kind of take that water out the back of the trailer, let it dry, and then you can assess it. You have to take care of these aluminum floors. If you do that, they'll last you forever, but you've got to be diligent about that. If you really want to take another step, while your mats are out and when it's dry, take baking soda and sprinkle it on the floor, put your mats back in. Baking soda will counteract the acidity of urine, so we're not running into those issues there. So again, really good setup as far as that's concerned. These ramps have a nice big spring, I should say springs on them, to where, as you can see, when I go to shut this, it wants to actually pull into the trailer itself. Once again, you can lock these ramps, you can lock the Dutch doors, whether they're open or closed. In the Dutch doors, you have windows, bus windows in there, so if you wanted to keep it closed up but still wanted to create some airflow, you could open up the backs of these guys. What happens is when that air is coming in, it wants to find a place to escape. So you can open these guys up, and as that air is coming into the trailer from the sides, from those roof vents, it'll come to the back of this trailer, so it creates a vacuum and wants to go out. So it's keeping that breeze over those horses, keeping them nice and comfortable. But as you can see how easy it is to shut this guy up. Again, you've got those wraparound Dutch style doors. These are independent as well. I don't have to shut them in a certain sequence. I can I shut the driver first, then the passenger. I can flip it if I wanted to. Definitely nice to have that option there. So on driver's side, here's a good look. There's that bus window again I showed you on the other side. And then here's that drop window. So this was covered by that Dutch door on the side ramp when we were looking at that. But there's a good look at it. Look at the size of that. So big opening, jail bars. They've got a track built in there. You just find that little sweet spot where that guy can fold down. Maybe you want to reload up on feed right there at those bags if you wanted to add those. Set it right back in the track. Like I mentioned on the tack door, look at that framework, so really stout. And then that drip rail goes above those guys as well. In this first stall area, another bus window there. Escape door with a chest bar over it, so if you need to hop into that stall area, you can utilize this door right here for that. And also, what's in that escape door? Another drop window. So again, more airflow. Again, same with the jail bars, those can be folded down, but it's nice to have these feed doors. This one's a little bit smaller just because it's within this door itself. Welded hinges with grease zerks, like I said. You can lock up all the windows, the same key. And then this one here is gonna have your latch and then a butterfly paddle latch over it. And the reason why is if you have a horse sitting in there playing with it, we don't want this door to open. This is gonna protect it. So if you're in there and this is shut, you can't get out, this guy here will have to be popped open. And then again, same thing, all keyed alike. So there's a good look at that silver metallic with the extrusion. They extended the extrusion over here on driver's side up to the drop wall. I think just kind of finishes that trailer off and gives it a good look to it. So I'm gonna give you the stock number on this guy. It's a 2024 Cimarron Warmblood 2+1. Stock number is 5N240179. This trailer is available today. Wouldn't expect it to last long. These 2+1s usually don't. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. We do take trade-ins, so if you're looking to upgrade, downsize, we can help you there. Financing is available and delivery is an option. That number is 303-684-3400. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.